Always has to be a shot at somebody.
I know.
They're never clean.
They have to run. That's the only shot they have.
They do it for 82 games. We're about to find out.
He already has shown what he's capable of.
Did surprise me. I thought we were going to hang in there.
This makes me think that we do need to be humble.
I actually think you're the only one who deserved that beat.
Cut the music. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Ahmed. How we doing? How we doing, boys? How we doing? After that,
better than the Celtics. We're doing better than the Celtics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes. That's a low bar.
without hyperbole, like the Houston game was bad. Losing to Utah at home was embarrassing. This is probably the most anger-inducing game, I think, of the season. This is the one where you
I like that take.
You can get mad at people, right?
Mhm. That's what we like here.
This one was bad. This one
do.
was bad. So yeah, worst loss of the season. Guys, come on. I'm here. I was here for the win last time too. Come on. Come on. You guys, the chat needs new Zannis material. You do.
I'm gonna have to check the Google spreadsheet.
Where you been, dude?
Wow, he showed up for the wrong one.
Wow. Yeah. So
Just
there's
kidding.
a lot
This is
to
a good one,
lot
too.
to unpack from this one. We're gonna get to all of it. We're gonna hear from Bobby and Noah, who are in Philly. We're gonna hear from Joe and the gang and all of that stuff, and all these good things. So we'll get that soon. But first we'll dissect it. I do want to let everybody know real quick. Our show, as always, is brought to you by PrizePicks, #1 daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. You see it right there. Download the PrizePicks app. Code CLNS gets you 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. There goes half of Jimmy's face. We don't need it all. We'll just, it's cool. Yeah, that's enough.
Because I'm looking at stuff on I'm looking at Twitter right now, so I'm like kind of looking off screen.
That's enough. Also, Omaha Steaks. Check that out too. OmahaSteaks.com. Terms do apply. Use code Patriots at checkout. $35 off. It's 50% site-wide sale, plus 20% off on some items, plus $35 off when you use the code Patriots at checkout. It's almost too good to be true. So check that out. What was not too good to be true was tonight's game. And let's start at the finish. And there's a lot to talk about there. But the very last play of the game, if I say it, everyone will say I have an agenda. So you guys tell me what happened. Not the last play, the play that Philly took the lead on. Someone else do it. Because if it's me, everyone's going to get mad.
No, John, please do it. Please do it. Because I feel like tonight is the one night where my own angst and anger, I'm living vicariously through John Zannis tonight. I think John is the best representative of how I feel about this shit.
Well, listen.
This is some bullshit. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Here's the glass half full. Great defense by Jordan Walsh. Great
on
defense
3 straight possessions
by Jordan Walsh there on Maxey on that last one, right? Unfortunately, he didn't have any help because they got the miss that they looked for. But Jaylen Brown,
you need a box out. You need one box out.
He was
one box out.
Yeah,
it was worse than that.
Of all people, Oubre
I watched
can't even ride a damn bike.
I watched the playback.
He pulled the Casper-friendly ghost, started reaching for someone that wasn't even there.
Yeah, right.
It was like,
what'd you see on the third watch, John?
No, just how what the breakdown is. Sometimes people get caught just looking, but on that one, it was particularly bad. Brown went to help on Maxey, which he didn't need to do because Walsh had locked him down twice, and he's running away from him. Brown was on the opposite side. Maxey goes right. Brown starts to chase him and realize Walsh already did a good job pushing Maxey out away from the basket. There was no need for a double at all. None. Zero. He didn't cut back towards where Brown was in the low block at that point where he could come off his guy and stop him, stop the ball or stop him from getting to where he was going. He was heading in the other direction. Brown just floats around to the middle of the key and realizes, oh, there's no defense to be played here. And the next thing he needed to do was rotate up to the shooter, which he didn't do. And Pritchard had to fly off his guy to try to close out there because Brown left a wide open shoot. The first egregious mistake was Brown left a wide open shooter because he didn't rotate over after the bad double on Maxey. And so Pritchard flies out and Brown's just watching everything.
He's in no man's land.
No man's land. And then Oubre just slips right in for a rebound. It was a brutally bad awareness, effort, play late in the game when like you need maximum effort and focus. It was so odd. And it was a really, really, really bad overall, possession on multiple counts by one guy. And it was working. Jimmy said it. Walsh didn't just lock up Maxey there. Walsh was in the game for one reason and one reason only. And that was exactly that. The Sixers with Maxey, they've tried this hero ball thing late a bunch of times. It hasn't gone well. But Walshy was all over him. 3 straight positions.
Walshy, look at you.
Forced him into. Well, this is my guy. I've always been a Walshy guy.
You guys are like tight. Yeah. We're not talking, just to be sure, we're not talking Kevin Walsh here, right? We're talking Jordan Walsh.
I like Jordan more than Kevin. I'll tell you that. But nothing there.
That is bringing back like flashback memories. Like, wait a minute.
So look, that happens. I think that I think Brown. I don't want to make this all about Brown. Brown's always an over helper on the defense. Dating all the way back to the Philly game where he helps off and allows that Hart in the playoffs and the Harden 3 in the corner, which was one of the more egregious ones ever. But like, that was just silly and bad defense. It's just bad everything in that last play. Then the very last play, they're fumbling, rumbling, stumbling, bumbling, and the ball goes into the backcourt, and Walsh has to throw a grenade. Am I wrong, or could the Celtics have called timeout?
I think they had one left. Yeah.
So call the freaking timeout.
You mean White with the 3-pointer?
It was what? Yeah. White with the heave.
Derek White had like 3 extra seconds to
you had more time closer there. But you need to call a timeout right there.
I would agree.
Happen.
I would agree. They didn't have a like a backup plan for if something went wrong there.
And then before that, what happened? Before that was the Simons situation, which is another thing we're going to get into, which is a guy who scored the first 10 points of the quarter, assisted on the next 3 with a terrific pass to Pritchard for a 3-pointer there, and then drove the basket, got a shot up, just rimmed out. Garza comes up with the offensive rebound. He goes to the free throw line. Those free throws put the Celtics up 9, and out goes Simons. He literally was their entire offense to start that quarter. Out he goes, boom, Philly just roars back, takes a 1-point lead.
They scored like 8 straight. Like, I'm not saying it was because Simons left the game, but there's, in my opinion,
good things happen.
No reason to pull him out of that situation, Sherrod. I mean, he's instant
good
offense.
Things happen when he's on the court.
He's on a little bit of hot streak. Yeah, he had that bad turnover. We tried to go behind the back. Maybe he's trying to get a shot off. Heat check there. But
what's wrong? What's wrong, people? Come on.
Simons was 17. It was lucky that the Philly player wasn't hustling to steal the pass to Pritchard. Okay, sure.
No, whatever. We're not doing this tonight.
Yeah,
we're not doing this tonight. Anyway, I tweeted it during the game. Anfernee Simons might as well be called what, Jimmy?
I didn't see your tweet.
I'm just saying, you and I are in lockstep on this one. We might as well just go ahead and call Anfernee Simons what? Dennis Schroeder 2.0. This is what he is on this team.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you for saying that. I thought about that last game. And even we're even getting the Bobby bias. We're even getting the Bobby bias.
He did it again.
Anti-Schroeder, and he did it again tonight, texting us.
Anti-Holiday.
Nitpicking a few negatives that Simons might do out there and completely ignoring the fact that this guy's probably your purest shooter on the team. Yeah. Not probably. I would say definitely.
Yeah. It says nothing bad about anybody else. The entire team went like 1 for like 40 in the first half. It's like, Simons, man, second quarter's been rough for him. Like, are we kidding me?
Yeah. Get him out of there.
Are we kidding me here? You know,
Unreal.
Unreal. It was there was a lot of bad that went on there in that fourth quarter, and what frustrates me about the Simons thing. I'm not going to make this my agenda. I'll concede the other day when Simons didn't get back in the game when he played that 6 minutes in the second half. They were getting a lot out of Walsh and Ugo that game, and so you want to say, hey, they rode the hot hand. It was working, so they stuck with it. I can say it. Fine. I get it. I went on my little tirade. You don't play this guy 2 minutes and a half. You don't play but I understand where it's like, I like what I'm getting out of these guys. So I'm staying with it. What was it you didn't like about what you were getting out of Simons in the fourth quarter? What was it? What was it?
You had one bad turnover. That was it.
It's exactly. I'm completely,
And you needed the scoring. I mean, they barely got over 100 points tonight. And you got a guy that gets.
Thank you, guys. It's not the players. God, my God, does everybody need shit explained? It's the situation. He came in.
People are saying it's the player. Come on.
No, I'm not comparing the players. It's the situation. It's a guy who's mainly offensive, but everybody's going to scapegoat and make and only focus on the negative things that they do. It's weird. Anyway. So I don't know where you guys want to go with it here. Those are the things that really stuck with me. I mean, offensively, they were putrid the entire half. You can throw the first half in the garbage there. But, I mean, this is where the game was lost there in that fourth quarter. And you can question some of Joe's decisions, and you can definitely question that late game execution.
Well, I don't think there's any question about the late game execution. It sucked. It sucked on every level. The decision-making, the rotating, the execution, the approach, certainly some of the personnel, I think at a minimum, you have every reason to question. And again, this game is yet another reminder that this team has an incredibly thin margin for error. They have to make the right decisions. They have to have the right guys in the right situation, and they have to execute. They don't have the cushion that they're used to having where they can screw one of those or two of those things up and still find a way to win or still find a way to get the job done. And even at the very end, even when they fumble and bubble and stumbling their way, Keita literally has the layup. He literally has
just throw down
layup.
that alley. Throw down that hoop right there.
Or just lay it up. Just lay it up. Stop. I mean, and he had time. And that was the thing about. Yeah, I mean, he panicked. Obviously, he thought he had less time than he did.
Yeah, I think we all thought.
The point is, right? But I mean, am I making more out of this than it is? If that were Al Horford, he would have made the right decision and laid it up, or Porzingis would have laid it up.
No, I think those guys
in that same situation. If they were in that,
I'm with you.
And again, and that's what I'm talking about. Little things. Yeah, little things like those moments is when you realize how much of a downgrade this team has done by saving a couple $100 million, which again, no shade in that. But this is the price that you pay for that. You're going to have moments where the guys that you have on the floor are going to remind you why they weren't playing a year ago. Yeah, and why they're not considered among the best at their positions right now.
Just seemed a little lackadaisical off that inbounds there. You want a little bit more intention,
Yeah.
There's no excuse to have that ball poked away. Derek White's looking for a foul there, and then he looks up at the shot clock as he goes to get the ball. Looks up at the time remaining in the game. Still turns around and hoists up a 40-footer or whatever it was. He knew that he just looked up. He saw he had 3 seconds left.
You know what? Right. He did that though because he knew that I'm probably not going to make this shot, but let me get it up so that if I don't, we get a chance at a second putback, which is exactly what happened. Derek White actually, all things considered, in that situation, probably did the smartest thing. Get it up with enough time so that someone can potentially put it back in. And that's literally
the only reason they had enough time is there was enough time shot is because he completely missed the backboard in the rim. I mean, it was basically a lob. I don't think that was the intention. You think that was?
I think it was just to get the shot off. Okay. I think it was to get the shot off.
If I'm Derek White in the situation, I see I have 3 seconds. I catch, turn around, dribble, try to put up, a three that's a little bit closer. Yeah, it is what it is. It was screwed up right before that, and we've, that play wasn't why they lost the game. I think that they, we've talked about some of the things that happened prior to that. And, I'm very interested to see what Mazzulla has to say after this one. If he has talked already, I haven't
He
looked.
has talked. The reports I'm getting from the locker room is he was very curt, and generally wouldn't really give it up in terms of the stuff that we're talking about here. But we will get that. It's in Ahmed's hands right now, which is the best hands for it to be in, and he'll turn it around. He'll turn it around for us in a minute. He does. Ahmed's we'll get that out there to you in just a little bit and hear what Joe has to say and the rest of the gang as well. So that was the bad part, and I guess, I'm not into the sunny portion of things yet after a loss, but it is impossible to ignore the Walsh-assance, right? Like we've gone from 3 straight games where he just played in the rotation to starting in the second half to playing a career high 29 minutes to closing out a game all in one shot. This was a huge leap forward for Jordan Walsh, did anybody see this?
Absolutely not.
Did anybody see this a week ago? Anybody?
No.
I'm not here. And here's what I'm telling you right now. But even they had bailed. I'm not doing an apology, Kim. You know why? Because everybody thought the same thing. Washed. Not an NBA player, not in the rotation. Joe had buried him to start the year. He was awesome. The defense was awesome. And he's less spazzy, he's less flailing around, fouling, overplaying. He just is locking it down right now. The energy's off the charts. You had, what was it? Was it Monroe gets pissed off at him just because he throws a ball at him because he's like, you're friggin' annoying, dude. That's what you want him to be. And those possessions on Maxey, who's, arguably the fastest guy in the NBA.
Drummond?
Oh, Drummond. Sorry, I said Greg Monroe. Drummond.
Greg Monroe,
Drummond.
man, we're really.
I know.
Back.
Geez, I would always juxtapose those two in my mind way back when.
They are kind of similar in a way.
I don't know. No, I know Drummond. Drummond throws the ball at him, but the brain cramp. But Maxey is about as difficult to stay in front of as anybody out there, and we've seen him even the Celtics' good defensive guards in the past, your Whites,
right.
your whether it be Smart or Holiday or those guys, they can't do it. They can't keep this guy, and he locked him up late in the game. That should have been the story of the game. Jordan Walsh locked up Philly's best player, and the Celtics walked away with a win there. It ended up not being, but it's impossible to not talk about it as a major positive development on this team. And again, for people like you and me, Jimmy, and Sherrod to an extent, who view this more as a developmental year, one of my laments with this year is I don't know what there is to develop,
right.
You want to see a little of Ugo.
Any of these guys coming with you next year, right?
You were hoping Shireman would be a guy, and right now it doesn't look good. Walsh didn't look good either, so I wasn't counting much on him. I was maybe hoping to see a little bit more of development from Keita, but that was the problem. It's who are you developing exactly? The Walsh development is interesting right now. Are you guys buying this?
I want to rent it. I'm renting it right now.
Okay.
With the intent to buy.
I like that. I've never gotten that answer before.
Because here's the thing. I mean, he's doing what exactly he should be doing. You get an opportunity to play a couple minutes. You make 2 become 4, 4 become 7. And now you're a guy that they're looking at to be in the rotation. And the thing that he's doing that I love is the fact that it's not like he's just out there running around doing a little this, little that. He's taking on pretty much the toughest assignment defensively. And he's more than holding his own at that end of the floor. And you're right. I mean, the story of this game, had they won it, would have been Jordan Walsh once again coming up big with his defense. Just like in Orlando, even without the big 3 ball that he knocked down, his defense was really good in that game.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of becoming the identity that he's developing on his own. But there's I haven't seen enough to feel good enough to say, yep.
Renting is a good one. How about you, Jimmy? And by the way,
Rent.
I'm leaving this comment up here. This is not the craziest thing I've ever heard, nor would it surprise me right now, because we've already seen Minott sub in for Hauser, who started the year as the starter. And we've also seen Minott now get bumped to start that second half in favor of Walsh. It's not crazy to think Walsh takes that energy spot there on the team. That you're going to lose a little bit on the rebounding edge, and you really don't love playing Jaylen at the 4 necessarily, but this wouldn't be stunning. You're going to get a little bit smaller if you were to go here, but that might be it. But are you buying the Walsh-a-sance?
So similar type of answer to Sherrod. I love the rent answer, by the way. I'm buying this Walsh, meaning the defensive stopping type Walsh.
Yeah, maybe it's a Nesmith.
Right.
Defensively, right.
This is the type of Walsh I'm buying. If it was the opposite tonight and he had like 20 points, I'm not buying that. I think, guys can randomly get hot and can hit 20 points and hit a few shots, and that's great. We'll take it. But when I see him defend the way he's defending, that's something that he could theoretically do night in, night out, right? I mean, if the technique is there, if the energy's there, if the desire is there to be that player, a lot of times there's a lot to just effort when it comes to defense. And I think Walsh has got a little swagger to him now. Feels like maybe he does belong out there. He's not thinking as much, not worried about getting benched if he does miss a shot because he's not adding something of value otherwise. I think Mazzulla is probably, ingrained in this guy's head, like, hey, you can contribute to this team on the defensive end. Offensively, that will come, or maybe it won't. But regardless, if you can go out there and defend their best offensive player on a few possessions here, I mean, why wouldn't you consider starting him? Get him in these opposing, scorers' heads early on in this game, frustrate them, be physical, get them out of rhythm. If that's the type of player Walsh can be, then I buy that aspect. That I'm still not there, that what he can do for you offensively, I still think there's a big issue there. But they can make do with it if he's going to come in and put those defensive performances together. It just gets complicated when you're screaming at the TV because you want Simons in the game, or you want, a player in there who can score, but defensively he's really hanging in there and keeping the Celtics in the game. You can see why you kind of have that, well, should they or shouldn't they? And I think that's why John's maybe going back a little bit and looking at the last game where they went with Walsh and Ugo instead of Simons. Well, it's because defensively that was what was working for Boston at that time. And then what do you take a hit for on the offensive side of things? Can Brown, White, and, either Pritchard or Simons kind of carry you offensively if you get a guy like Walsh in there or a guy like Queta in there who doesn't really give you much on the offensive side. So I guess I'm overall, and I kind of feel like a fraud because I sold, I think, on Walsh the last game, but I kind of buy this type of performance.
Well, you know what though, Jimmy, I think for both of you guys, I think it goes in line with what they've been peddling to us all season, which is it's going to change. Right. And, it's not always going to be the same stuff. And Joe, it was a little bit of gaslighting when he's like, I think that's going to be one of our strengths. I mean, I don't think switching guys in and out because you can't quite figure out the right combination is there.
Let me say this real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah.
38 3-point attempts tonight. And this is after, I think, 31 the game before. They're dropping their 3-point attempts. So it's allowing guys like Walsh and guys like Ugo and guys like Queta and Minott, although he's taking threes, it's allowing those guys an opportunity to play and to show what they can do, because it does feel like there is a little bit of a shift here in their strategy, at least offensively, where they don't need Walsh to take 8 threes a game in order for him to prove his worth. They just need him to clamp down on defense. And if they don't take 50 threes a game, that's fine. They're trying to find other ways to play winning basketball. And I think that's what you're kind of seeing here over the last week or so. And maybe that is why you're starting to say, oh, wait a second, maybe these guys can play, because the way the Celtics want them to play is different now.
Yeah. And I'm surprised that Joe's doing that because Joe, he has an idea of what he wants to do. And this is the first time really the last week or so where we've seen him actually coach to his personnel and not have his personnel contort to what he wants to do as a coach. You're playing Jordan, you're playing Ugo, you're playing guys who three-point shooting is just not what they do. But there are other things they can do to help you win and compete. And it seems like he's being more comfortable, Joe is, in leaning into what these guys can do to help winning. And again, completely different type of coach, but he is an example of what I'm talking about. Rick Carlisle. I've seen him coach teams that had lots of offensive players, so he leans into that. He's had guys who can't make shots, so they become real defensive-minded, grinded-out type of teams. You need to play to your personnel if you want to be successful in this league. And I think Joe is starting to, I think, better figure out what can we do well, and how can I hide our weaknesses? Our weaknesses, we're not a very good three-point shooting team now because our personnel. So what do? We have to grind it out. We have to muck up the game a bit.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I like the rent comment. I want to believe because I want to see somebody step up into that role. And like I was on board the Minott train too because I like the energy that he was bringing. The problem is when I step back and actually am honest with myself, I keep coming to the same conclusion, which is none of these guys can shoot. And
I know that's so sad.
And like
it really is.
And that's the thing is like you'll have a game where Minott he'll come in threes, be like, he's coming around. Like, no, man, like nobody fixes a shot in a game. Like he's the same guy. He's gonna regress to the mean. Like this is the problem is, and this is one of the problems with the team. There's too many guys who do one thing, but not the other thing.
Right.
And so that's where you're going to be stuck all year long. It just cracks me up that like people will bury Simons because he can't play defense, but like will allow Walsh and Minott to go out there and just be zeros on offense most nights. It's important. I mean, this was really they don't have that many scoring outlets on this team, and so it's what do you need more right now? And I think Joe's really conflicted. I think he's going to struggle here with this one because he wants his shooters out there, but he wants last year's team. He wants the guys he had before. Remember that team I had when there were 9 guys. Yeah. That team I had, there were 9 guys that could switch and defend and shoot. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
So each time he puts somebody in, he's like, shit, get him out of there. He can't do this. Then he puts another guy in. He's like, shit, get him out of there. He can't do that. So
now we need this thing.
I forgot about the defense. Damn it. Oh, man.
Yeah, looking down the bench. Damn it.
That's
Baylor. No, never mind.
Baylor, stay where you are.
Baylor. Yeah, yuck. Baylor doesn't do either thing.
Yeah,
get him out of there. So
that's an easy call.
It is bad. It is bad. We do have Joe Mazzulla. We're going to hear from him.
Great.
We are. I'm curious how Joe played this one. I think this is a I don't want to be questioned by you, Joe Mazzulla press conference.
For sure.
That's how I see it going down. I do have to quickly. Before we get to Joe, quick shout out for our sponsor over here at the Garden Report. And you know it, you see it on the screen. It is PrizePicks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. Right there, download the app, code CLNS 15 your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And again, if this is your bag and this is what you like to do, there's no better place to do it than PrizePicks,
baby.
Get in on it now. The excitement for this season, again, whatever sports you're into, doesn't have to just be one. You can mix and match sports, pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You get those picks right, you could cash in. PrizePicks also offers injury reboots. One of your players leaves the game in the first half, doesn't return. It's not a loss. Flex play, absolutely. Cash out if your lineup is not perfect. Free squares or easy squares to hit, or reduced numbers on squares that you can insert into your lineup and make it easier for that lineup to hit and for you to cash in. So again, the offer, you see it, download the app right there, code CLNS 50 in your lineups.
Marshawn Lynch. 5.
Yep. Once again, yeah, I'm just here to not get fined. 50 in your lineups when you play 5. PrizePicks. It is good to be not that. I played the speculation warning. It's an
Sean,
accident.
your mic just got wild on us.
I can't stand this.
It's okay. We got the read in for the most part. Anyways, download PrizePicks, use the code CLNS, and get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineups.
It boosts me.
It's good to be right.
Right. This app's killing me. I go and I play something or I hit one of the sound bites. It just knocks my audio off. Completely changes my settings.
I don't even know how that happens.
It's happening.
Glitch.
Glitch. We fixed the glitch. We did promise you Joe Mazzulla, and as promised, here is Joe after the game talking about the Celtics loss here, 102-100 to the Philadelphia 76ers. Here's Joe.
Joe, who are you looking for in the last possession?
Just wanted to create some indecision on a pick and roll downhill drive. Forced a switch. Still had 3 seconds. Saw a knee under the rim. Just didn't execute it.
On the previous play, you defend well for 20 seconds or so. There's a missed box out. Jaylen's so good all game, but he lets that one go there. Like, what's?
I think it was a tough miss. Edwards had been hot the whole night. Credit to him, he played well, but it was a tough miss that just didn't bounce our way.
You guys have been in a lot of clutch games this year. What's the process of learning how to play together in the clutch with the new team, and how have you seen the progress of this team playing in those situations?
Yeah, it's no different than the regular game, the rest of the game. Your execution, whether it's transition defense, whether it's fouling, whether it's executing on the offensive end, all those things are the same. It comes down to who can make plays, and they made the last play, and we didn't.
And you guys only forced 9 turnovers tonight. Was there something about your defense or their offense that affected the turnover you guys did?
Yeah, they did a good job keeping the ball in their ball handlers' hands, and and their pick and roll spacing was good, but they kept the ball in their ball handlers' hands, and they moved it well. And you're right, yeah. It's a credit to them. Yeah, they played well offensively. I thought we played well too. We just didn't come up with the enough plays down the stretch.
We'll let you go with Jordan to start the second half. What do you think of the job you did on Maxey in general?
Yeah, he's been playing well. He's been playing well on both sides of the ball. I thought he did a great job on Maxey throughout the game. They did a great job on him on the last possession. So just kind of wanted to keep that momentum, and he's just got to keep getting better.
He said coming into the season that role player IQ was an area he felt like he made the most growth. How have you seen that manifest itself, especially on the defensive end?
Yeah, he just he's learning the understanding of the identity. Just the way the effort that he plays with on the defensive end, the different ways that he could play make on the offensive end, whether it's screening, whether it's offensive rebounding, knocking down open shots, which he's done. So he's just getting better and better. He's got to keep it up.
Joe, you guys have had a lot of these clutch time games go in both directions. When it goes against kind of what you guys are hoping for, how do you feel like this group has been processing it? Is it harder that for a lot of these guys it's their first time in this position, or is it kind of the same as last year's team? You guys lost a clutch time game.
It's just the process of understanding where we could get better. And again, we always talk about those plays that we could be better at throughout the whole game, and then just executing down there. So just have to have the mindset of where we can get better, and when we're in that situation again, execute.
What do you think, Anfernee, obviously super involved in the first half, and try to get him in there in crunch time in some spots. What do you feel like this one did for him in terms of the acclimation process we've been talking about?
He's fine. I think he's fine. He's getting better. Had some good defensive possessions. He was good tonight, and we went with him at the end.
Joe, you mentioned the Justin Edwards threes and getting caught. Was there something with the defense that you didn't like those possessions? Was it just the closeout wasn't quick enough? Like, what did you have?
I think it was just again, it's Maxey pick and rolls. You have to be able to do both. He played well. That's it. It was he played well. I thought we played well too, and we just didn't make enough plays down the stretch.
Did you talk to Josh about not playing in the second half and the reasons for that, or do you talk to him tomorrow, or is it just on him to kind of figure out and then move forward?
That's between me and Josh.
Nope.
What'd you see in
Nope.
the first half?
Okay.
We played well. It was a great offensive process. I thought we missed some 2-on-1 advantages there, but I thought we played really well from a process standpoint. Obviously, didn't shoot the ball well, and we missed some, like I said, some advantages. But I thought the process of playing, was really good offensively.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.
Thanks, Joe.
There's Joe Mazzulla wrapping it up. A couple post game nuggets on the Joe Mazzulla press conference. First of all, the ball just didn't fall to Oubre. It was a complete failure to box out there.
Right.
Bobby's question. Jaylen was great all night. that's really questionable as well, particularly on the defensive end. I thought he looked a step slow all night. Let's just be honest about it. That was that. And defensively, I didn't think this was a great effort by him for a lot of the game, a lot of ball watching. And this was a really bad case of it. And it was an egregious mess up there to finish that game. The other one is the Simons comment. Small and subtle, but again, asked by Bobby, what'd you see tonight? Or, kind of what basically Bobby just kind of, he got some run, what went on there. And Joe said, I thought he played well, so I kept him in there, which again, leads me to believe that he's on a leash. If I like what I see, he stays. And if I don't, he doesn't. And this was kind of what fueled my little rant the other night, which is you don't just play this guy 2 minutes and 6 minutes. He's one of the guys you play all the time. And again, he's playing 25 minutes a game. It's not like he's not playing, but I don't think he's one of those, I don't like what I'm seeing from this guy. Sit him guys, not on this team. On this team, you need what he gives you because you've seen it. He's completely turned games on their head with the offense that he provides. You play him because you don't know when that's coming. If you don't play him or you play him short stints or you don't give him another chance, you're missing out on that. He's flipping games on their head by just going insane. We've seen it now 3 games in a row where he, in a quarter or a stretch, he just puts up double-digit points like that. Right. And it looks like he can't miss. And
he can create his own shot too, which is different than a lot of players
valuable. On this team. Yeah. And I thought he passed his ass off tonight. He really passed
5
well.
assists. Yeah.
I want the potential assist number 2 because he was throwing a bunch of dimes all game long. For the potential assist crowd out there, somebody feed me that stat because I thought he was good all night. So again, we're still stuck in a weird place where Joe's judging him.
Can we talk? Can you play the pregame stuff?
Everyone has imperfections. Yeah, we can play that. So this was interesting. Let's kind of run through the whole Simon situation because I'm not sure entirely what's going on here there. But
I am.
So this was Jaylen after last game, which were very curious comments in regards to Simon's usage.
We have to figure out how to maximize everybody's potential to whatever degree that is. And Anfernee a guy who's very talented, so we have to figure out how we can continue to maximize his potential, regardless of what it looks like. So we just got to keep an open mind. It was great to see him be aggressive in the first half and get it going a little bit. That's what we need. That takes pressure off of everyone. So going forward, we got to look for that more.
Yeah.
And it's a long season, so we just got to keep an open mind.
Okay, so he said open mind twice, and I called it out right on the show, and you guys talked about it as well after I left. I know you played that bite again. It's very clear. He's like, we got to play the freaking guy. What are we doing here? And it was a little bit of a shot, right, at Joe.
That's how I took it.
There's no other way. Who?
I mean, shot might be harsh, but it was a message. It was saying, "Hey, find out. We need this guy on the court. Figure it out."
Right. It's
if for no other reason, it makes Jaylen's job easier.
Right.
Yeah. If someone is being
asked, I need someone to score.
Yeah. If you're asking someone to be open-minded, you are essentially saying they're being stubborn. That's what that means. Be more open-minded as opposed to what you are now, which is stubborn and not open-minded. And you're kind of fixated on what we're saying.
One thing.
Fixated on what he can't do instead of what he can do. And again, players aren't coaches. Coaches understand the game better. And if players ran the show, it would be a shit show. And we've seen players try to play GM and they want their buddies and they want guys who score and do stats. And it's not their job to put teams together. So I'm not saying players always know best. I'm just saying that was the comment that was made by Jaylen Brown there. I'm not saying he's right. And therefore, because I share that opinion also, Jaylen said it too. So I must be. I don't think players know necessarily what's best, but it still was, Jaylen's opinion. Here were Simons and Joe when asked about it at a pregame shoot around this morning in Philly.
Yourself, I think, I go into the game, having, respecting what, all the other players on the team have done. And, it kind of might make me a little bit more passive than I need to be, but they just been trying to get me to, be that same player that you were before, I came here. And so, and also I'm just trying to figure out, my time to be aggressive, when not to be, and when to be able to, get other players shots as well. So, but they've been trying to just tell me to just go out there and be yourself. And so that's been the kind of battle I've been, trying to figure out, game to game.
It's a battle. Figure it out.
It was like 2 minutes in the first half in that Friday game. Second half, I think it was like a 10 minute stint for you. It feels like the time's going to be inconsistent sometimes. Like, how do you react to that when, like, obviously you're very involved in the first half, and second half you might not be?
Just the time that you do get, just go out there and make the the best the most of it. Your time out there on the court. And I think it's always a self-reflection moment where maybe you feel like you didn't do the right things out there, and so you got to look at yourself in the mirror first before you point fingers or look to why something's not happening. So that's the way I see it. And like I said, control what you control and go out there, and when you do get your time, make the most of it, and try to make an impact that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just he's a guy that we just need to be assertive when he's at his best. He's aggressive, whether it's play calls, whether it's just making sure he knows we need him to be aggressive. He just has to be able to do it. So he's had some good games in that. I can be better pushing him to be more assertive, and he just has to be able to do that for us because when he does it, it's we're a different team. Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. That's the balance. Do things. We want you to be yourself. Especially offensively, and I think he's done a good job being committed to being better and physical and the things that we need defensively. So I think we're not asking him to not be who he is. He's just there's an understanding about the defensive side of the ball, which I think he's taken on. And then, like I said, I could be better. We could be better, making sure that he's more comfortable on the offensive end.
So there's a lot there, right? There's a lot there. Like I'll you guys go first because I mean the Simons saying he's battling and he's trying to figure it out. Like he's getting jerked around a little bit. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But Joe isn't loving what he's seeing on a regular basis. He's seeing inconsistencies, and Simons doesn't know what it is he needs to be doing different. He seems a little lost, right?
Well, the battle that I think Simons is experiencing is, you're telling me on the one hand you want me to go out there and be aggressive and be myself, but at the same time you're telling me I'm doing that, but I'm not doing it as often as you want, and yet my minutes are being kind of all over the map. The bottom line with Simons is that he's yet to enter the Joe Mazzulla circle of trust.
Right.
It's clear, and we've seen how that looks when you're in there. You can miss a defensive assignment from time to time and not have to worry about getting yanked. You can, make a mistake or two here and there and know that at some point Joe's going to correct you, but it's not going to have a significantly adverse effect to your playing time. Anfernee Simons, you played 2 minutes and a half?
Judah, did this happen with Porzingis? Did this happen with Holiday? Did this happen with White? Absolutely not. They brought them in and they played them. Like, what are we talking about here? This isn't a new player thing. This is a something Simons is doing that Joe doesn't like thing. And I'm not saying he's wrong, but there's obviously something there. It's really, again, I think he's the problem. I think, Sherrod, I'm sorry to jump in because I think the problem here is Joe's coaching Simons like he's on last year's team and what it would take to earn minutes on last year's team. And this is a different situation. On last year's team, you can't do what everybody else does and keep up defensively and play and switch and mind your assignment when everybody else around you can. I got other guys, man, who can do what you can do. I got plenty of guys who can shoot and fill it up. I don't need this. I can play you 15 minutes a night and we're okay. I can play you in the Sam Hauser instant offense role. I don't need it. This is not that team, and that's the difference, right?
And along those same lines, now the players that you name when you talk about Porzingis, you talk about Al, you talk about Drew Holiday. Those guys made Joe's job not necessarily easier, but more simplified. You knew what they could do, and when they had to audible in real time, they could do that because they were built to do that. Simons is not. You're going to have to really kind of guide him as to what you want him to do if you're going to have him in the same type of blueprint that you have had in the past. But that's the problem. This is not that team. These guys should not be held to the same standard as your team from a year ago because those guys were better. And to me, the irony of that is Joe and most coaches will be the first ones to tell you that every year, even if you got everyone back, it's a different kind of team. You kind of got to coach that way, and I'm not sure that's happening.
Right.
Yeah, I think one of the things Sherrod said that I agree with is that he's not in the Mazzulla circle of trust. He's getting treated like he's in the Stay Ready crew, and he's not a Stay Ready crew member. This guy started in Portland. This guy is a starter in the NBA, and he's a starter on this Celtics team. The problem is he's starting at a position where they have other talent, right? And let's not forget, they made this trade not because they needed a player like Simons. They made this trade because they wanted to get rid of Holiday, and Blazers were probably one of the only teams willing to take on that contract. And the Celtics just so happened to get a good player back in Simons. And if he's not going to be in the starting lineup, he should be treated as he should be playing 6th man of the year type numbers. And he should get that respect because it's clear that when he's in the game, he can affect the game positively. It's clear to me that he's their best shooter, certainly right now. Derek White's starting to get maybe a little bit hotter here, and we'll see how things shake out. But man, Simon's shot's pretty as hell. Watching him create his own shot, step back, just swish the ball. You're right. He scores in bunches better than he's in the 90th percentile of a guy that can just probably get hot and score in bunches, I would say. And so to take him out, especially in a moment where that's happening, turnover or not, I can't wrap my head around it. I can't defend it. I don't know exactly why. Joe couldn't really explain it. But I will say, after rewatching all those clips that we showed, I feel like Jaylen Brown's on our side on this one. Jaylen Brown's probably scratching his head saying, why is Simons on the bench right now? Why is Minott in the game? Or, why is Pritchard still in? Or why is Walsh in? Or what's going on here? Why isn't Simons in the game right now? Or why did we just take him out? He understands what Simon's capable of. Jaylen Brown wants to win games. And the last time I checked, the team with the most amount of points wins the game. Celtics are barely getting over 100. They hit 100 tonight. And Simons was a player that probably could have got you a few more points if he was able to play a little bit longer amount of stretches. Give the guy a heat check. I think he's deserved that, is when he's playing the way he is. So I find it interesting. I do think that things are going to continue to evolve and change with this roster for all the reasons you guys gave. They're a much worse team talent-wise than they were last year. Joe should be tinkering with these lineups. Joe should be trying to figure out, who's better to play with who and who should be playing more and who should be playing less. I mean, Minott playing 0 minutes in the second half tonight is something that, obviously stands out as well. And Mazzulla didn't even want to talk about it. So he's very temperamental, I think is a good word with all these. Everything is very almost Bobby-esque, like prisoner of the moment with Joe right now, where there's not much of a leash for anybody on this team, not named, Brown or White.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think Joe's in a tough spot. This is the problem. This is why I don't get on. We can argue about the game management situation here. The reason I don't get Joe as a coach in terms of what he's trying to do, to get these guys going, and figure out who to play is that I don't think there's really any good solutions. Just some stuff is simpler than he's making it out to be, which is Simons just plays because he's one of the more talented offensive players you have on this team, and you lost a lot of talented offensive players, and you've got your energy and your defense guys, and you fill them up and you put them on the court, and those guys are interchangeable. Your Walshes, your Ugos, your Minotts, and that's what those guys are. You got hustle guys. How many teams are built on 4 hustle guys who can't score? None. That's just not. It doesn't work in the NBA. Having those guys is invaluable. Having that guy who can come in and lock up a maxi late in the game, unreal. If you've got those types of players, you put them in there, especially when you can kind of play a late game defense for offense, switch them out, call a timeout, get your other guys in. But you just can't play them for long stretches of time because you're going to really struggle to score. And you're going to lose more games than you're going to win there. That can only get you so far. They got too many of those guys, not enough of the other guys. And that's what they need. This wouldn't be as much of an issue right now if some of your better offensive players were playing better offensively. But Sam Hauser is a complete zero right now in terms of what he's giving you there. this season. He's generating zero offense for you at all. And then White and Pritchard have really struggled shooting the ball this season from the outside in particular. So given all of that, there's no, I don't want to beat a dead horse. There's no way you're not leaning heavily on a guy like Simons just simply because you need the buckets, like it's just something you need. So I don't know. I think all of this is going to kind of be thrown out a little bit because they're going to enter a pretty easy stretch here with the double Brooklyns and the Memphis coming up here. And, there won't be as much of a concern. So I think some of this stuff will get wiped away here for a bit, but this problem is going to continue. And Jimmy, you're 100% right. There's going to be a lot of tinkering. We spent some time on it earlier and want to go back to it. We did say this was a good Jordan Walsh game, and it was a good Jordan Walsh game. As we said, a career high 29 minutes. Let's hear from Jordan Walsh out of the locker room after this one.
What were you trying to do against Tyrese there on those late possessions defensively?
Stop him from scoring.
So what was I trying to do? Stop him from scoring, for sure. Well, the assignment was to just like I knew the scouting report, so it was just to make him do things that he's not comfortable with doing and make him take shots that we're comfortable with him taking.
How much do you feel like your growth on the defensive end is about understanding player tendencies, like in this case, someone like Maxey, compared to just the effort that you've been playing with?
I think it's definitely a huge combination of both. But yeah, I think a big part of it is knowing their tendencies, because like the way that we play is, if you can make him take a shot that we want him to take, then, and if he makes it, then it's like, all right, kudos to him, but just trying to force him into uncomfortable situations so he has to play a different style of basketball than he's used to.
Jordan, on those Justin Edwards threes late in the game, he got hot a little bit there. Joe mentioned that it was just, he played good, the defense was there. Like, what did you see on those possessions in particular?
I'd agree with him, honestly. I think he stepped up in those moments and made the shots that were necessary, But I think that we were there. I think we got a good contest. I think that we did our job. I think he just, found fire.
Jordan, you've been in the locker room a lot of times after these tough losses in the playoffs, crunch time games during the season. Being on the court now and having played like 30 minutes in this game, does it feel any different being like now sitting here talking to us, all of that, just processing that loss?
Yeah, it definitely. I think it feels maybe a little different. It still hurts equally as much, whether you're playing or not. You never want to have your guys, lose. But there's definitely an added sense of like, dang, all right, now what could I have done better to, get over that hump? These close games, how can I affect it? Those extra 2 points, do I get another stop at one possession, and then hopefully that changes? But I definitely start thinking about it that way rather than just, feeling for the guys.
Last question. That being said, how gratifying is this stretch for you? I know with the loss, but to see all of your hard work kind of come together and Joe trusting in you in these crunch time moments, starting you in the second half, that kind of stuff.
I think that it's huge. I think it says a lot for the trust that the organization has in me. Obviously, Joe, and then also the trust that the guys have in me as well by getting me involved, trusting that all right, if he's guarding the best player, that we want him on there and he's going to get a stop. We just have to be ready for what's after that. And so it's definitely, it builds confidence, I feel like, with every possession, every play, every time out, it's like they're talking to me, I'm talking to them, and we're just building more and more chemistry, and I think that in the long run, it's going to be successful that way.
Thank you, Jordan.
I got to say one thing. He seems more chill on the court and off the court. I think so much of his tenure has been defined by, I'm not saying he's like a spazzy, fast talking guy after, but like he seems much more chill right now and he's playing less, like he's all over the place, but it's less flailing and lost and jumping around and where am I supposed to be? And he's definitely, there's a more calm about him in general. I was just thinking it through listening to him there as well.
You know what, John? He sounds like a guy who, remember when guys first come to the league and they're going like 100 miles an hour, but then they start talking about how the game is slowed down. I think that's what we're seeing in Jordan and just the way he's able to articulate the way he plays and the way he actually plays. I think the game has slowed down to where he's kind of found his pace, his rhythm that allows him to be effective when he does get his opportunity. Which again, that is part of the reason why I'm ready. I'm definitely renting with the intent to buy, because I need to see this more often. I need to see this become not just something that happens for a good week. I need to see a good month where he's playing like this. And that, I'm not talking about just the statistics and all that. I'm just simply seeing him play at a pace that's very consistent. Getting out there, guarding the best player, whether that guy cooks him or not, is he being consistent with his effort and his ability to contest and his ability to compete? And I think Jordan, he's kind of at that point now. And it feels like it came out of nowhere, because he literally went from watching the game, making sure the passport is up to date because he was part of that passport ready crew, to a guy now who is, you can legitimately see him in that top 8-9 rotation for these guys, for his ability to not just compete against the best scorers on the other team in the wing positions, but actually make their lives difficult and uncomfortable, which is something that there aren't a lot of guys in that locker room right now who can make that claim, particularly on defense. As good as Derek White is as a defender, speed kills him. We see that all the time. That is his kryptonite. Guys with super speed. It's just not what he does. Jordan, on the other hand, is a better defender in that regard. He deals with guys with ultra quick speed a little bit better than Derek White. And so Jordan, it feels like he's finally found his place in this league.
Yeah, you know what my kryptonite is?
Super
it's a nice juicy steak.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie. I love it. It's it's when you're starting to think like, what do I want for dinner, and you can't figure it out. It's almost always like I'm just gonna grill me a steak right now. This is great. I'll ask you guys: you grill or cast iron is preferred?
Grill.
I can't have a grill in my apartment, so I've been trying to figure out the stove situation. It's not easy. I would do a grill if I could.
I'm a cast iron reverse sear guy. I can't not do it now. That's just how I play it. But
once you have it that way, yeah.
It's just you keep the juices in there, and you can do the butter bit. It's just great. Anyway, check it out if you guys want to get in on the action here with omahasteaks.com. Code Patriots gets you $35 off. That's not where it begins. It's a 50% off site-wide sale right now with an additional 20% off other items. And you can get this right now when you go to omahasteaks.com and enter the code Patriots at checkoff, an additional $35. And yeah, let's put the pictures up because that's what makes it fun.
Look at that burger, huh? Okay.
I'll tell you this. I know this is a steak deal. My absolute desert island food is a burger. It is. It's a cheeseburger. That makes me happier than anything in the world.
How does it look? Like, what's your burger?
I'll tell you that later. We're going to run out of B-roll here, but enjoy certified tender steaks, juicy burgers, cozy, convenient comfort meals. You know, there's chicken, there's baked potatoes. There's lots of different things you can get in there. Desserts. It's awesome. Early Black Friday sale, 50% off site-wide, extra 20% off select favorites, as we said. When you go to omahasteaks.com, plus our listeners/viewers get an extra $35 off with the promo code Patriots at checkout. Super convenient, gets sent right to your door, ready to go. I've already ordered 2 boxes myself. One of them I'm halfway through with a bunch of ribeyes, and I got a roast coming around the holidays that I plan to cook up for Christmas, which is going to be great. You can do that too. You can send it as a gift, and you can wait and do it just prior to the holiday season. These do make great gifts. So get in on it now. Grass-fed, grain-finished beef, more marbling for exceptional flavor. The choice of steakhouses and professional chefs around the world. One more time, we'll give you that promo offer. It is omahasteaks.com, 50% off site-wide sale. At checkout, use that code Patriots, get an additional $35 off. We absolutely love that. We're going to bring Bobby Manning in just a little bit. We want to let everybody here know as well. You can always, some of you have donated super chats to the Garden Report. We love it when you send them in, so please do. Proceeds are divvied up among the hosts, but you don't have to. It's just always nice to get that little extra bump. Helps us continue to pump out this free content, which we love to do because we enjoy doing this show and we enjoy doing it with you guys here. So it's great. But check it out. We're going to run through a couple of super chats that we have right now, and we'll start with let's see. Joseph Perot. Thoughts on Joe not using his challenge tonight? The out of bounds call at 97, 96 before the 3 to make it 196. We didn't lose because of it, but I don't know. Yeah, look, you get late in the game, guys. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?
Use it.
Like
you left the timeout out there.
Yeah, no question about it. David Andrews, a little late, so I don't know if I missed it, but why the did Jaylen leave Edgecombe wide open at the end? Failed to close out and failed to box out. I think it was Edwards, not Edgecombe, there on the 3, who was left open. But yeah, we did talk about it. It was bad everywhere. Everywhere. Yeah. Action Benz.
We can't answer that. I think Jaylen Brown might have to answer.
Look, I'll tell you this. Action Benz stuck one of these in early, normal, non-super chat edition, and I kind of shat on it a little bit. And he said, "You know what? I'm gonna let my feelings be known. I'm gonna put $10 behind it," and that's what he did. And the Start Simons crew needs to get real. There's a reason no one wanted him when the Celtics looked to trade his salary. He's a one-dimensional scorer, insert an offense off the bench, nothing more. We all agree.
He spent $10 to sound that dumb. Wow.
We all agree.
I'm just kidding.
But we've been over this. On this team, you don't have complete players. You've got one-dimensional players or no-dimensional players.
He's no different.
He's elite at one thing. That's better than being okay at one and horrible at another.
At the thing you want somebody to be elite at.
At the hardest thing to do. Would Pritchard have been able to lead the Blazers to the West playoffs in place of Simons? Noah thinks so. I don't know. It's possible.
No,
it's possible.
I say no to that.
No.
I don't know. We're going to bring in this guy and that girl right here.
Nice.
And we're going to talk. We're going to talk about it a little bit.
Assemble.
We may be saying goodbye to Sherrod. Is it time, Sherrod?
It's
Sherrod
time.
has to go. I want to give everyone
I won't take it personally, Sherrod.
a quick $5. We don't get these very often. Lock it in.
He said it was me.
Pictures.
Earth, wind, water.
Yeah.
Your powers combined. Sorry. That's an old cartoon. You
A lot of good references.
Well done,
Junior.
What was that cartoon?
Yeah,
Well done.
we're Voltron here. But it's okay. We'll be fine. Sherrod, peace out. He's got official teacher business
Deuces.
to take care of. So we will see him later. We'll go back to our
Papers to grade.
Four across layout here. And guys, we started at the end. And I know you guys asked some questions about it. It's not always about what happens in the end, but in this particular game, I think it kind of was. Really bad last 2 sequences there, both defensively with Jaylen falling asleep, the bad switch, not resetting, not finding out where he was supposed to be on that last possession, and then allowing Oubre to get the uncontested putback layup, and then just the horrible last possession there with the Celtics looking to tie or win. And the question of why didn't they call a timeout when things went to hell there, and Derek White had the ball 45 feet from the basket facing the wrong direction with 3.5 seconds left to go. I don't know. Can you guys answer any of these questions?
We need answers.
Yeah, I think it's an even better question now that White said that they weren't able to get to what they wanted to there, which was a possession for Jaylen. Now, we've come to know at this point that Joe doesn't call those Brad timeouts. I'll call them Brad timeouts because he used to always do that, right? Plays breaking down, doesn't look good. He did lose control of the ball, Noah, right? So I'm not exactly sure if they could have called timeout there necessarily after he got knocked back off his spot. And I did think that was a foul in real time. I haven't gotten a good look back at it. I don't know if you guys have, but I'm not normally a refs guy. It looked like it was a pretty strong push or slap, whatever it ended up being there by Drummond that knocked White off his spot. So, yeah, I mean, you always look back at those situations when they don't work out and say, probably should have called the timeout there. Joe's philosophy is to let it roll, and that's just who he is as a coach, and it's what you come to expect. Is it the right decision? Is it the wrong decision? In this case, clearly it was the wrong one, given how the play blew up. I don't know, Noah. Could they have called a timeout there after he got knocked off the ball a little bit?
Yeah, honestly, I thought they were going to, just based off the fact that the play had kind of broken down there. Easy to say now because he didn't get a good shot, and also he could have gotten a better shot. Like he was I think he said it himself. He rushed that one.
He
He had a
heaved it
couple
early.
seconds left. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I mean, this is not blaming Keita because this is just a freak play, but they almost had it, right? He had literally the ball in his hand. That could have been like, if you look at the photos, like the screenshot of those moments, like it looked like Keita was going to dunk that one and tie it up. In which case, we're thrilled with how it panned out. So, I mean, it was a broken play for sure. And I think the reality is, yeah, why not call a timeout at those moments? And maybe Joe's timeout philosophy will change now that he doesn't have a lineup that just has like 4 advantages on the floor at all points. Whereas in the past, I think what he always pointed to was, we have advantages in most of these matchups, and it's just about finding those and maintaining those. So I wouldn't be shocked if it could change throughout the course of the season when they just have a different skill set. But that doesn't stand out to me as like one of the top few things that went wrong here down the stretch.
Okay. How about, and again, you almost had a, I'll date myself here, but you guys have definitely seen the videos. It was almost a Jimmy V, NC State 1983 situation with the shot that ended up being an alley-oop, dunked into to finish the game there. But that last possession there, I watched it back a couple of times. There's a lot of bad Jaylen there, from the unnecessary double to chasing Maxey to a place he didn't need to go because Walsh had already pushed him away from the basket, and then just being stuck in the paint there, then not getting out on the shooter. Pritchard having to try to close out from under the basket, sprint out there on the three-point shooter, and then Jaylen just turns around and just watches Oubre walk right by him to the basket. That's a shocking lack of focus from your best player on the most critical play of the game.
Yeah, it's like you try and do 3 things at once there, and he ran through it. I don't know if you played the sound, but
all of them wrong.
Yeah,
no, should we play it?
And I think Jordan had that play handled. I felt like for the most part there. I know you're trying to help, and that's what you're doing this year, but it felt like they were in a position late in this game where they wanted Jordan, and Jordan said it too. Noah, like, let me handle the best player there. That's what we were trying to do. And then, figure everything out from there. Like he was just talking about what his role is, but I thought it was pretty indicative of what they were trying to do down the stretch there, which was have him on Maxey. Maybe there was some help that was supposed to come from there, but too aggressive in that spot. And then you're in rotation, and that's how guys get missed on offensive rebound putbacks there. I don't know if that's exactly why he missed Oubre in that situation there. It looked like Oubre just kind of strolled right past them.
They were standing next to each other. There was the guy next to him. That's the guy you box out. The guy right next to him.
And I don't have a problem with the Edwards thing. Like, that was the game plan against him is, they were going to try to let him shoot and have that be the weakest shot on the floor, and it burned them. Like, we've been down that road a million times too. Like, these are just Joe things that blew up in their face tonight, right?
Yeah. Let's hear from Jaylen after the game. We haven't played it yet.
Screen me to get to my right hand. I felt like I got 2 on the ball. Maxey just kind of like stopped me on the sideline, so I got off it. Threw it to D. White just to see if we can make a play. I'm not sure what happened after that.
Jaylen, you guys have been in a lot of clutch games this year. Is there anything consistent you're noticing in some of the ones you're dropping, or the plays leading up to get to that point where you guys are in a clutch situation?
Just little possessions, little stuff that throughout the game that we, have to be better at. Tonight was not a good example of that. Poor performance by me on both sides of the ball. I let my guys go down tonight.
What are some of those little things you are noticing?
Rebounds, just layups, just little stuff, transition opportunities, stuff that you just got to take advantage of that we didn't tonight.
Jordan had some big stops on Maxey. Have you seen him grow in his role, especially on the defensive end?
Yeah, I thought Maxey was great tonight. I thought Jordan was great tonight. He's shooting the ball well. He's doing his job. So it's good. It's a good sign. Good sign from Jordan.
The Justin Edwards miss that allowed Kelly Oubre to get behind you.
Maxey was driving. He turned his back. I thought I could go make a play. I was guarding Richardson. I thought that, if I went to go make a play that wouldn't be enough time for it to get a shot off. But ended up leaving Richardson wide open for a 3, and then kind of was fuck. And then Oubre just kind of got
I was trying to. I was listening to that.
An easy offensive rebound. I got caught ball watching. You just got to get in there and get in the fight.
You talked a little bit the other night about getting Anfernee involved and up to speed and being a little more creative there. Like, what are you looking for in that aspect in terms of getting him involved more and being more creative? Like, what do you mean by that?
Say that again.
What do you mean by being more creative with how you use Anfernee and just getting him up to speed here? Like,
I don't know what you.
The other night you were saying that, you know, we got to get more out of Anfernee.
Yeah, just him being aggressive. I think that's it. Just him being aggressive, putting him in an opportunity for him to maximize his potential. That's it.
Put him in an opportunity.
Damn it, Bobby.
Same sort of line. What was the question? There.
What did you just say?
Good on Jaylen. He owned it. It wasn't a great game. It was a bad effort there in that moment. Where obviously a critical play late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, not great from a lot of your
I feel like Brown's always accountable for the most part.
Yeah, he's great. He's great like that.
Yeah, he doesn't say we as much.
John, do you not mean that?
No, I do. I think he's dead accountable and honest, and he'll call himself out. He'll call other people out. I think sometimes he does the we thing when whatever. But for the most part, when he doesn't think he did it, he absolutely owns it. So yeah, no, he's great. I actually love Jaylen's leadership vibes, generally speaking, all season long. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like it. I like the way he's going about it. Here, this was just a bad. This was just. Really bad play at the worst possible time.
Yeah,
here.
I think he was a minus 12 in the fourth quarter too. Brown.
I think he looked off all night here. And again, we're going to start to get into the point where you will talk about like whether load management a little bit is here. It is kind of
played the most games in the league by far.
They played the most games, and everybody has played every game everyone has suited up for every game and played when they were healthy, with the exception of Garza, who went out with the concussion.
Mm-hmm.
But like they haven't lost bodies really to injuries,
right.
And they haven't sat anybody for the sake of just managing their minutes. And I don't know if it's taking its toll, but like we've already talked about Brown's athleticism looking a little bit less.
I agree with this comment too.
This season. Today he looked even more sluggish. And yeah, maybe it's a cold, who knows what, but he looked a step slow. Or like he was kind of standing around on defense for a lot of the night. Do you guys see that?
Yeah, this was not a good Jaylen game. I think, the last play kind of was the most indicative moment there. But with the exception of the third quarter where he went on a good little shooting stretch, I thought that the first half he was missing uncharacteristic shots based on how the season has gone for him offensively. Like those are the kinds of shots that he's been pretty much automatic with. And then I think he did look tired, and I honestly didn't think anything of it until post game. Like he was clearly very congested and was sneezed. Yeah. It was very evident when he walked over. But I don't know if it has anything to do with it. It might have something to do with it.
It might. He looked off.
But yeah, he looked off. Yeah, this was definitely.
He owned it.
I think this was unless I'm missing a game. I think this was his worst game of the season. And he was pretty clear about that post game as well. But yeah, that's just a tough final play there. Like he said it himself, he just got caught ball watching, and on the last possession, makes me think a little bit of the Derek White putback, those kinds of plays, win games when they're just so massive, and everybody's thinking in that moment a guy's going to try to crash here. So just a tough one.
Yeah. I think all that stuff's valid.
Me and half of Jimmy Toscano have talked about a lot of things tonight.
I was
so
again.
You guys,
I just want everyone to see my tree. That's all.
It's a problem for Jimmy.
I'll let you guys pick the next topic so we don't keep.
I have one more question on Jaylen because I'm curious. I can't figure this out myself.
Ask yourselves the question. We've talked too much.
Yeah.
I can answer it.
Go.
As long as it's reasonable. No. You said you have one more question on Jaylen.
I mean,
okay, I'll answer.
It's a fact. They've been worse.
Is it a question or a fact?
Floor.
Oh yeah.
It's a question about a fact that they've been worse with him on the floor than off this year. Why do you think that is?
I would mostly attribute that. I think the first quarter rotations where it's been him, Garza, Simons. That unit has not been great. And you look at the plus minuses when those two guys have played together. They've been better of late, the last two games. But
early on in particular, I think it was a kind of a rotation thing. I mean, I don't think they're better when he's not playing. But like right now, the best combo is like when Keita and Walsh are playing. Like that's and it's been like a very good defensive lineup. But you know, to me, it's just more of a rotation thing. Like he's the guy that's playing with that second unit coming in, and the second unit has, for the most part, been outscored this season, with the exception of I think the 2 Orlando games. So yeah, not something that I think has a ton of significance.
I was just curious why, because there have been
Yeah.
situations this year, the Utah game, where you're like, all right, when he's on the floor, they've been great. When he's off the floor, they really struggle. But the numbers haven't backed that up for some reason. Obviously, they're cycling rotations in and out. Feels like the rotations changed again tonight. And I guess I'll ask another question, all you guys. Like, are we at a position now where you have to consider starting Walsh after what he showed tonight?
So we talked about it.
He started technically.
Exactly. Like he already did it. Like you saw this. This is what happened to Hauser. It's how it happened to Hauser. He started first couple of games, then Minott started the second half for him, and then Minott started the next game, I believe. And so it's not a huge leap to think that that would happen. You might lose a little bit on the glass there, and I think that was one of the reasons why you put Minott in there, but you'll certainly have the defensive energy that Walsh has been bringing. The problem is it's the same guy, kind of, right? Like it's energy, defense, can't shoot. Look, and
Walsh
we said
has been
it all
shooting well
along.
this season, John.
He's been better, but if he can consistently knock down, we said this about him
I think
all
he
along.
can.
If he gets to 35 to 37% on those corner threes, he's playable, right? Absolutely. And so if that's what you think, and you think you can get that from him, I would rather see it, because I think I know who Minott is, and I don't think you're going to get that from him. I don't think you're going to get consistent shooting out of him. I think Walsh is far more likely to deliver that, but I'm still a little dubious. But
What's his main percentage now?
I'm all for experimenting there. It wouldn't be shocking if you saw Walsh and Simons rotate in, but I don't think Simons will, because it sounds like Joe still hates him a little bit. Just in terms of his commentary, there's a lot of tough love there.
I'll just say on the Walsh piece, one of the things that is, I think, unique about this season is that, nobody is like, with the exception of Jaylen Brown and Derek White, I don't think anybody is married to a particular opportunity. And I don't think Joe feels an obligation to keeping players out there, which is pretty empowering.
said that earlier,
Certainly not where they were at last year, where most of the guys were predetermined to close out games when the tip-off happened, right? And so Jordan, in my eyes, the thing that he's been billed at, and I think you guys know, I've watched him play a ton, and I've been really invested, because part of it is that he was drafted like right before I started this job, so I just feel like I followed his career. But he's been billed as like a really good defender, and to be honest, I hadn't really seen that in his first few years in the league. He wasn't this lockdown defender in the G League. He wasn't, and he wasn't in limited stints coming onto the court and locking guys down. And so I wanted to like subscribe to this vision with him, because I love that type of player. Like that's my favorite prototype of player, is a guy that comes in and just like looks down. But he just wasn't that. And this year you're seeing him completely like make a 180. Like I think he's completely turned it on over the past week and a half to a level defensively that I didn't know he was capable of, truthfully. And on the glass as well, like I don't know how much of a downgrade he is from Josh Minott. Like Minott has a little bit of size there, and he is a little bit more of a ball magnet, but Jordan's really battled well on the boards, at least these past 3 games.
Keeps it alive. Yep.
So, yeah, I think Josh's starting spot, he said Bobby asked him last week, totally up for grabs. And I wouldn't be shocked if Jordan starts the next 4 games, and then Ugo comes in and starts the next 3 games, and Sam, I think it's going to be a rotating thing, and nothing is predetermined at this point, because that Josh group was really good for a few games, and then the last few games they've gone on to slow starts. And so Joe said it pregame too, like the last couple of games it hasn't been as great. And so maybe teams are figuring him out. Maybe he got a little complacent. I don't know. But I think Jordan, I wouldn't be shocked at all if he's given an opportunity. I don't think you're giving up a whole lot at this point. Like he's shown flashes of things that are great.
I'm fine. I don't think Minott's the guy. And I like him a lot, but I do think he's a good
I can't believe that.
guy
That's tough.
And a bench guy.
Last week at this time, we were talking about Josh Minott like he was the greatest thing on earth. Like I don't want to overreact up and down to any of these guys. The point is,
I love what he brings.
Yeah.
You're talking about you're trying to find someone in that starting lineup who could potentially bring you 25 to 30 minutes a night in that spot and be able to do multiple things, to defend and to knock down shots, or to be more of a scorer who can handle their responsibilities defensively. I think you're always asking too much of a guy like Minott there. And Walsh might be more capable of doing that. And again, it's early, but I think he was 5 of 10 coming in. What did he do? 1 of 3 tonight from 3, so 6 of 13 on the season.
Yeah.
It's a super small sample size. But if he's anywhere near, 35 to 38%, he's absolutely playable with this level of defense. I agree, Noah. He looks more locked in because I always thought before he was energetic, but all over the place.
Yeah.
He'd be
Like
jumping
Neesmith?
out. Yeah. Early
To me, it
Neesmith is
feels-
a very good comp. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it was very erratic before. It was a lot of fouls. A lot of times he was going for steals and he wasn't getting them.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
truthfully, even in
Over-
Maine, I didn't look at him in Maine as like this. And if you're not looking like a great defender in Maine, like how is that going to translate? And then here he is, and I was watching him guard Tyrese Maxey on the stretch, and I'm like, this is maybe the best Tyrese Maxey defender I've seen in the last couple of years here for the Celtics. Like Tyrese Maxey's been a thorn in the Celtics side for years now, right? And so maybe it's just like all the work and the confidence and the film, it all kind of came together, and like you now have what you were hoping for when you drafted, and maybe it's just a good week. I don't know. But I think the race is going to continue between those guys, and everybody's had good moments and everybody's had bad moments. And Josh, I don't know exactly what it is that he did in the second quarter, but the way that he went out of the game, I was like, I don't know if we're going to see him again. So I got to rewatch.
Can you explain that? Because
What happened there?
No, I don't know. I think he fouled or he was out of position, but he just looked so dejected checking out of the game. I don't know if he was told something or if he just knew he had messed up one too many times. But the last 2 games now, he played 15 in whatever night it was in Orlando, and then 8 minutes tonight. He has not had the energizing impact that he had the previous 4.
I feel bad.
He's had a couple.
That
was the third foul coming out, so you're done for the half there. That's happened a couple of times lately that he's picked up that third foul before the half.
And he'll be back. This pendulum will continue to swing between these 3 or 4 guys all season, probably.
I like the guy, but that's the problem is if you're a starter and it's possible that you only play 8 minutes in a game, you're not really a starter. You know what I mean? It's like you got to the pendulum might swing, but you can't try a guy out to start and be like, I don't want to play him anymore at all today. That to me is the inconsistency.
I don't know. I think we might be going a little too far.
And I like him a lot. But I do feel bad, because now he might be in his head a little bit because, he had that grievous, that turnover 2 games ago that basically swung the entire game. And now he kind of gets yanked, he might have lost his starting spot and he gets, pulled in the first half, never to be seen again. You definitely feel bad for the guy. I still like a lot of what he brings and I like his energy. You're waiting for someone to step up and be a bit more of a complete player. And I just don't know that Minott has enough of an offensive skill set to ever be that guy. It's nothing against him. I like the player a lot.
And it's tough too for all these guys is everybody's going to look a little better playing next to White and Brown and the starting unit and Keita, the Keita Walsh numbers Noah's mentioned there. All of these guys are going to perform better lining up their minutes with the starters just because of how much playmaking's there and how little pressure's on them defensively and all that. My worry with sending Minott to the bench is he just going to be floating out there with Simons and Garza and those lineups will just continue to struggle for you guys. It's tough right now where anyone that you're sending to the second unit is kind of just getting cast to the side, and anyone who's being integrated into the starting unit with all those, frontline players on this team have done better. So I lean riding the Minott Keita thing a little longer here, just because I think the Ugo Walsh thing has been good off the bench. I think you can probably get Walsh into the game quicker. He didn't come in for 10 minutes tonight, and I was like, when's he coming in? And that's probably something that you could just bump up to get him out there with the starters soon.
Okay. All right, guys, let's have the Simons conversation. I'm not going to say a thing. Go.
Me neither. You guys go. We already talked about it.
It's really tough. I don't know what they can do. You got a solution, Noah?
Do we have a problem?
Hot potato.
What's can we be more
problem
specific?
is
the problem
fine.
is
all right, fine. We'll talk.
Okay, we'll
we
do it.
tried.
I mean, you guys said the Simons thing, and then Bobby's like, "What's your solution?" I don't know what we're talking about.
The Simons thing is every time he goes in, he goes nuclear and scores a zillion points, and then something happens and he gets taken out of a game. Whether Whether it's a mistake he made or Joe just saying like, all right, I'm done with you. I'm going with the guys I like and trust. Mazzulla's commentary about him after the game is still talking about him like, I need him to be more. I need him to be more. What are we missing here? What is Simons doing that doesn't have Joe's trust? What happens in a game where Simons is your entire offense and leads you to a 9-point lead or an 8-point lead or whatever it is, and the second he comes out, everything goes tanks again. You lose the lead in like 2 minutes, and then after the game, before the game at the shoot-around, you guys are there, you're asking him, and he's like, I don't know, it's a battle, I'm trying to figure it out. Joe's talking about him being aggressive, and I left him in because I thought he played good tonight, but some nights not. What's going on here? Like, he's in a weird place. You know, as Sherrod very simply put it, he's definitely not in Joe's circle of trust, but it's hard to fathom, you know, what's going on there with him.
That's the way to describe it. I think that's perfect way to describe it.
But I want you guys to describe it.
That's the show. So, all right, see you, everybody.
Because you're okay. There, you're talking to these guys.
Here's the thing. Simons has been incredibly efficient. Like, he's one of the top catch and shoot shooters in the NBA right now. I saw a graphic. Hopefully that was an accurate graphic I saw on Twitter this morning. He has been a great instant source of offense, and he's now had multiple times this season where he single-handedly cuts the deficit or, you know, pushes the Celtics ahead. And like, I think microwave score. I mean, that's literally the best way to describe what we're seeing with him, where in a 3-minute period, he'll score 12 points and completely kind of turn the trajectory of the game. And that's a valuable thing. And especially with this team, they've been one of the worst offenses all season by total points and some other metrics, passing, assists, whatever. That being said, like, and again, I know everybody here thinks I have a Pritchard agenda. I don't. I have high aspirations for him, but whatever. But my point is, if you watch him on the defensive end, and I really don't like singling out players, but I do rewatch all these games, and I particularly rewatch these games for specific things. He's being hunted on every single defensive possession, and I think he's trying really hard, and I think he's getting better, but he's a massive liability on that end. He still is. And when you go back and rewatch the Orlando game, throughout his heater, I rewatched it today, throughout his heater where he scored 25 points in one half, he was getting torched on the other end. Like, he just was. And that's not, and I don't like calling guys out for their own, you know, individual thing like this, but that's what I'm seeing when I'm watching the game. And so I'm assuming that's what Joe's seeing. Maybe he's seeing something different. Maybe it's not as specific as that, but I think that's the tug of war between, we have a gifted scorer here, but we have a guy who's also a liability defensively that for years now, his defensive metrics have indicated that. And when we've talked to him about it, like, it's something that he's getting at. And I think that in a few months, like, he might be in a better place. And should they just play through it because of what he can give you offensively? I don't know. Maybe they should. I wouldn't be shocked if Joe tries him in the starting lineup. I wouldn't be shocked if he plays more minutes in a few months, or they kind of figure they try to change something up. But I don't think there's really much of a mystery here. I don't think Joe hates him or he has a bias against him. I think it's just that, like, how much are you willing to give up on the defensive end with his size? He doesn't have like a strong base, so a lot of times he has to foul when there's mismatches. And so if they get a bigger guy on him, there's been a lot of and ones, there's been a lot of just fouls in general, and it's just a hard thing for the other teams are just completely going at him every time down the court. And that's the trade. And he might be a gifted enough scorer where it doesn't matter. There's lots of guys. Steph Curry, right, is a guy that teams go at, and it doesn't matter, right? But I think right now that's the discussion that Joe is probably having internally.
Is it fair? I mean, again, it's like I don't know. That's what I don't get is it's you're playing guys who give you nothing offensively because it feels like it's really a choice. You know, you ride out, like, you're better with him on the floor tonight. You were better with him on the floor. You're better with him on the floor last game. A couple of games ago, we said, hey, they were better on the floor with Walsh and with Ugo, and so they wrote it out because we're not worried about offense or defense. We're worried about results. He
was a team high plus 12 tonight.
Yeah, is what's happening on the court now good? Okay, so the other night, the energy that Ugo and Walsh brought was good, but they're not giving you offense. They're just giving you defense. Is anybody saying, like, I can't play those guys because offensively they're not good enough? No, we're only lauding their defensive
It's a little different
effort.
though, but it's different, John.
It is a little different, but again, it's like it was still a hot hand. You were getting results from that combination. When Simons was on the floor tonight, you were getting results from having him on the floor, not from the team, specifically from him carrying the team offensively. It was valuable. And then you're like, I'm good with this now. I'm going to go to my defensive lineup. And it cost you. So like, it's why are we always focused on what a guy can't do when their primary skill is offense, where we're less focused on what a guy can't do when their primary skill is defense and rebounding?
Because I think you can hide on offense in a way where you can't hide on defense. Ugo can.
You can't hide on offense when the team scores 30 points in the half. You know what I mean? It's like
that was not. I don't think that's because of.
Not because of him, but what I'm saying is it's indicative of a team that can't score as,
because they can
regularly
focus
as they
on.
can. Yeah.
If you're able to cheat and focus on Brown and White because you've got Ugo and Walsh out there and Keita, that's a problem. Now, I'm never going to question Noa because her basketball IQ is like 100x minus. But correct me if I'm wrong. The Celtics took Simons out of the game in the fourth quarter, and immediately Philly went on like a 10-0 run or something close. Completely retook the lead. Kind of took the momentum back from that game. That had nothing to do with Simons being out there in the court. And then I also believe in the last few possessions, Simons went back into the game late. Wasn't it Walsh on Maxey late in that game with Simons out on the court? With Simons out there as well, wasn't he? So they're not always hunting Simons. They're just not. Like, there's ways for Simons to be in these games in situations where offense is needed and for him to not be a complete liability defensively. And
we see guys get.
And by the way, real quick,
cold.
real quick, shame on the Celtics if it's that easy for them to, negate Simons. If the opponent can just get Simons out of the game that easy, Mazzulla's got to figure out a way to make that not be a problem.
Right. I mean,
that means
every team. That's what I don't get is we're a little bit stuck in what the Celtics were, and the Celtics were a team where everybody could play off it, could defend and score and shoot. They're not that. So you're gonna pick. Every team in the NBA has 1 to 2 defensive liabilities on the court at all times. It's just how gifted are they at the other aspects of the game? He's a very gifted scorer. It's really bizarre that the standard here to play for the Celtics is that you can't defend, you can't play. I don't know that that's the mentality in every other market or every other city. Everybody's got, it's not just Steph or Trae Young. Everybody's got guys where you're like, this guy can't defend. And Maxey, I mean, there's plenty of guys where you're like, this guy, I can hunt this guy all day. The Celtics made a living every single night on hunting somebody in the opposing starting lineup. Some teams would have 2 defensive liabilities out there. It's baffling to me that Simons on this team can't play based on offense alone, and we're only going to fixate on the fact that he's not great at defense. That's what I don't understand. I feel like it's everywhere. So Noah, go ahead.
Are you talking about?
I had jumped in on Noah. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, it's fine. I mean, listen, he played 26 minutes tonight. I think people probably would have wanted to see him play 5 more minutes. Like, is that what we're talking about?
It was when they took him out, not that they took him out.
Like the fourth quarter minutes in particular.
Yeah, I would say so. And that's what stands out tonight, I think.
I mean, Brunson's another example. I mean, there's every team has these guys,
Yeah, their problem down the stretch to me is
where this has happened either. Sorry, Bobby.
Their problem to me is that they were going back and forth down the stretch. Like, you do have to pick a lane in the last 5-6 minutes of a game and stick with it. Like, they threw him out there with 2 minutes left in a tough situation after he had sat for 4 minutes after they tried to go back to Pritchard in that situation. So that was what I was trying to get a feel for, with Joe after the game, is like why they were going back and forth between those two a little bit. Like, tonight it got to a point, and I know like maybe this is magnified because we've been talking about it so much and it's become such a conversation, but in the first half, they put him out there alone. And you mentioned this, John, without Brown, without White, just to go and shoot and run plays and do everything by himself with that bench unit, which, as we've mentioned, has really struggled because there just isn't a ton of offensive depth on this team. So he was in a tough position where he was just taking tough shots, missing over and over again. It was a difficult stretch. And there were some passes in this game that looked good from him. There was the stretch in the second half you mentioned there where he takes over. And I do feel like regardless of whatever mistake or two that he makes there, you do have to ride that in a game like this where he's plus 12, where the game's swinging in your direction. My problem isn't that he's being tough on the defense. My problem isn't that he's a 3 behind Pritchard and White. Like, I think that's where he deserves to be. That's where I've, said that they should be with the rotation since training camp. Because I think Pritchard and White on the whole have just played better than him this year. But
why is Pritchard playing better than him this year?
Because he's got a ridiculous assist to turnover ratio. The defense has been better. The 2-point shooting's been like out of this world. Like, he on the whole has been better than Simons. But in a situation like this, if he is playing better down the stretch, the rationale, and I'm not saying this is the rationale from Joe, but I do think he's gone to this mindset before, is White's been here, Pritchard's been here. We know who these guys are. We know what they do. Let's just go with them. And I don't know, no, I don't know if you agree or disagree there, but I do think that's a significant deciding factor in how they're using those 3 guys. They know White, they know Pritchard, they trust those 2 guys. There isn't the trust and knowledge in what Simons is going to do possession to possession here. Fair or not, that's just how Joe feels.
Okay, that's it. She's speechless.
Oh, is this? Was I supposed to respond? I mean, listen. I said my part. I think Simons is a very talented scorer. I think that he has made progress on the defensive end, but I was mostly responding to the what's the mystery here with him? Like, I don't think there's really much of a mystery. I think that's the trade-off. And
but I'm asking, should there be some trade-off possible between him and Pritchard?
Yeah, and I think that you saw that in the fourth quarter. I think they were going back and forth. Should he have played the 6 minutes more than Pritchard played? Should it have been 31-26? I don't know. I guess just that's not really how my brain thinks about these things. Maybe that would have helped them. Maybe it would have hurt them more. It's not that's not a pivotal question to me. But listen, maybe that would have made all the difference in this fourth quarter. To me, it's just that's what Joe is balancing. And I do think he's a pretty defensive-minded coach. If you look at what the identity of this team has been so far this season, they've been an elite half-court defense, and he has come into camp saying that that's where they're way ahead, and I think that's where he wants to be. And so that's what it is. And maybe he'll look at the numbers in 2 weeks and say, listen, we're going to have to live with it because teams, like you guys said, there are lots of players in the NBA that teams live with it, but you have to look at what is the offensive gap between the players that you're discussing. And it's not just Pritchard. I mean, there's Pritchard minutes, there's some Derek minutes. It's probably mostly Pritchard, but you have to look at what is the offensive gap? How much more efficient, how much better has Anfernee been than Payton on the offensive end? What's the defensive gap been? Because again, like people here are saying, it's not like Payton Pritchard is the best defender in the world, and just balance that. And I'm sure that's an ongoing conversation that they're having all the time, but I don't want the story to be like that is the story of this game, because I just don't think that it was, and I don't think that it's been this massive question this season the way that it's been framed. And I get that that's just going to be the nature of where we go with things. It's just that's not what I'm thinking about when I'm watching these games.
I think it's unquestionably a major storyline of this season, because again, you're just looking at a team that doesn't have a lot of high-end talent, and he brings a level. Like I said, he brings an elite skill set that other people don't possess. So
what would you want to see, John?
The onus is on Joe to figure it out. There's plenty of people that figure out ways to hide defensive liabilities out there, so you can tap into the goodness for it. It's not that it's pretty normal throughout the league. So to me, it's less about, okay, I'm not like the bench Pritchard. If you want my honest opinion, I think Simons is probably a 10 to 15% better overall offensive player, maybe slightly more, and Pritchard is probably a 10 to 15% better defensive player. It's pretty close to a wash.
That's what I'm saying. There should be some interchangeability there. It's close.
It's so close. It's not the people who are like, it's definitely this guy and it's definitely that guy. It is ridiculously close. They both do things well. It's not even that. You're just in a weird spot because again, I keep bringing up the Brogdon Smart White thing. It's less about that you got 3 guards, but you got problems elsewhere, and you can't play 3 guard lineups when you have no front court. It's complicated. So there's not an easy solution for it. I'm saying if we're riding hot hands, tonight was a failure in that regard. That's all there. But when they talk about him, Joe talks about him as if he's not where I want him to be. There's more,
like he's not getting it.
There's more dissatisfaction in just the way that he's spoken about that I'm wondering, what is it that that isn't clicking for him, for Joe, from them behind the scenes? That's what I mean about the Simons issue. Not like he should be playing and not this guy. I'm not saying that at all.
I think there's 3 factors.
Joe's hemming and hawing a little bit about it. And I want him to be more this. I want him to, and tonight I thought he was, and this and that. He's obviously not answering the bell fully. And maybe as Noah put it earlier, it's as simple as he's just not a good defender.
I think it's directly comparable to the Schroeder situation. Like, he does things, and his skill set is built around a game that they're not interested in going down that road. You know what I mean? Because, I keep seeing in the chat, like, oh, he led.
And you're going to run him out of town like you did Schroeder.
Well, that's what I was just going to get to here is he's probably not a long-term part of the franchise's plans here. So you are going to prioritize to some degree the guys who are here. Not that that's guiding Joe's coaching philosophy here, but that on organizational level is, organizationally, White's going to be here. Pritchard's probably going to be here long-term. I mean, is there any chance Simons is on the team next year?
I don't know. You seem more bullish about it than I do. I don't even think he's going to be on the team necessarily by the trade deadline. So again, if you want to look at it that way, I'm not spending my time on this guy, and I'm looking to dish him anyway, which I think they were in the preseason. Then screw it, I don't care. But we can get off this convo because we've done it a lot. Noah, what else did you think was worth talking about from tonight's game?
I think the first half, honestly, was like a massive shooting slump across all fronts, airballing layups, mid-range shots, corner threes. Like, it was not, they settled for threes and just missed stuff. It was like lid on the basket, guys really struggling on that front. And I was honestly impressed that they were even within 10. And because it felt like they had no business being in that game. They were shooting like 27% from the field at one point. The thing that's been encouraging is I thought this whole season was going to be about rebounding, which was, from a viewer standpoint, incredibly boring to see a team just lose night after night because they can't get a rebound. So it's been fun to see that go away as a massive problem. I mean, obviously the last play of the game is symbolic of that early season issue, but they out-rebounded the 76ers in this game, and overall it's just been trending upwards. So that's just something that I've had my eye on. I think on the flip side, Jack asked Joe about this post-game, but their whole MO has been forcing turnovers, and that's what made them so successful the other night against the Magic. And they weren't able to do that to the same extent tonight. And part of that is they have they have some elite guards, and Tyrese Maxey's an elite player. And I continue to think, like, every time the Celtics play him, he's just a killer. But they were not able to force the turnovers that they just have been able to for many games this season. And I think that was one of the things that ultimately hurt them in this one. And then just down the stretch, it's just like, there's just a lot of mistakes right now. And I tried to get at this with some of the players, my questions. I don't think I really got anywhere with it, but I don't know how much of it is just like, it's basketball and mistakes happen, and how much of it is you have Jordan Walsh and Amias Queta, 2 guys that 2 years ago I was covering them in the main Celtics. Like, that's the reality, right? Like, these guys was very uncertain if they were ever even going to play in the NBA. And now here they are closing out games. Like, you have to imagine that that's making crunch time execution even more difficult. And honestly, tonight wasn't on those guys, but
I know, I was just gonna say, like, that's the weird part tonight is it was the veterans who fell short.
For sure. Yeah. But I think like that's what you're seeing. I mean, this team is in every single game, and I know their record's not good, right? What are they, 5-7 now? But they're battling to the end in every single game. Like, they're right there. So from a roster construction standpoint, like, I think they have enough to compete. I don't know if people want to see them compete or not. I mean, honestly, for a lot of people here, this might be the best outcome, where they're competing in every game and they're showing some signs of development and they're losing. And that'll be good for their lottery odds and all that. But to me, like, they're kind of like what I thought they would be. They're just not closing out games really at all. They've had like 2 crunch time wins all season long, and feels like every night they're dropping games that are right there.
Yeah. All right. They will compete all season, barring injuries. They're going to be here all year. I think that's a fact, because again, the middle class of the NBA of the Eastern Conference is so vast that they can compete with basically every single team in the East. I mean, they really can. So I'm not super concerned. I think they will stay competitive.
Especially
what
if
are
they're
you looking?
getting some help here with some guys that we thought would be complete non-factors.
They'll compete. They'll compete all year. If they have injury luck, they'll be in the mix. It'll be frustrating at times, but they definitely have enough, and there's just not enough big-time teams. We are going to end this on the biggest news of the NBA day today.
Good.
And that was the Dallas Mavericks fire GM Nico Harrison. Here.
So it could be worse, Celtics fans. It could be much, much worse. You could be a Mavericks fan.
By the way, I've seen what's queued up this entire show, and I almost deleted it. But I'll play ball.
Yes, you will.
I almost deleted it and then caused all technical difficulty. Amit scrambling. I don't know who else to be on Bailey, but I said, you know what? We could use a laugh at the end of this show.
Yeah, we had good laughs. Legit, I've been waiting for this all day.
I've been preparing my defense all day.
So dumb people like Jimmy and me were like, "That's the worst trade I've ever seen." Oh my God, Luka is so good. He scores more points. Ooh, we're not sophisticated in our basketball.
We don't see it.
Why are you saying this like I've ever said that about you guys? It sounds like you're projecting your own self opinions.
You don't have to say it, okay? We already know.
Mm-hmm.
I know my part. But the smart kids in the room had a different take. We'll start with this was
these are the actually kids, we'll call them. Well, actually,
I was in Philly when I tweeted this.
Well, happy anniversary.
Actually, I do think everyone's getting caught up in Dallas not getting additional trade filler. Anthony Davis is probably the best player in the NBA they could have feasibly acquired for Luka. Top 5 and a bottom tier. There's that defense. It can't play guys who can't play defense. Luka Doncic, basically unplayable, is what we learned here right now.
And Davis is top 10 overall and top 10 on defense. So Mavericks must be cruising.
Noah was more like, is it crazy? And in defense, they walked it back pretty quick.
Is it crazy to say I think the Mavs won the trade? I don't know. I guess you can answer that question. What's even crazier is that you got 1,000 likes on that tweet.
People what's even crazier? That I got 800 death threats on that tweet as well. So I think it balanced out just fine, Jimmy. Yeah, I think it balanced out just fine.
1,000 likes are just like...
They've continued, just like the Fire Nico chants have continued. I get that tweet sent to me every week, and it is a point of pride that I have not deleted it because I've been so tempted so many times.
Well, we're glad you didn't delete it either, but we have something to add to it. John, do you want to hit him with it? Or
no, I don't have anything else.
It's one of my favorite segments that we do.
Oh, no, I don't want
Yeah.
I can apologize to him.
They have.
What happened?
Did we just lose everybody? Oh, it's the Bobby and Noah show. For the apology cam. You go first.
Well, I don't want to share this apology with you, but first of all, the first thing I'll say is I think that when the Luka trade happened a couple months after the finals, and I talked about this with a few people today because we were actually in this building in Philadelphia the day after the trade asking players what they thought. To me, I was so low on Luka after the finals that I was like, there's no way that this is a winning player. There's no way this guy's ever going to work out. And I was like, I can see the vision. They had Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis. I also had a completely inaccurate take on what Max Christie was going to become. I thought he was going to be what Austin Reeves is now. So I was like, he's going to blossom and Anthony Davis is going to be great and they're going to be a great duo. And then I went back and honestly, like probably an hour after I tweeted that, like the Luka playoff run was great. It was just that final series. It was so hard to believe in him as a player, having just covered those 5 games. But it was a bad take. I apologize.
No, she said it. She did it for me. I mean, the biggest thing for me is the defensive piece I was wrong about. And John's going to love to hear that. Like, I thought that they could rebuild around a defensive identity and just be able to be as effective as before. Like, that to me was the whole thing there. Like, Davis, to me, defensively was as good as Luka was offensively. So making that trade off there to me wasn't the craziest thing in the world, but there were 3 things I overlooked, obviously. Davis is hurt all the time, and that's what happened there. You weren't going to have enough in the backcourt aside from Kyrie. He goes down, and now you have nothing. And then I'll say this too, just on this general story here. Like, it did lead to them getting flagged, but the fact that the GM has like said fortune favors the bold on getting flagged there, like that's where it really went off the rails for me. Like, are we being serious about this here? What's actually happening? And then obviously they couldn't rebuild around what they had left there. So, well, a big factor though, John, that you have to admit is that the trade motivated Luka to get where he needed to go. Like, he is another level beyond what we saw from him in the past, physically.
So give Nico a little credit for that.
A little credit for making
that was inevitably going to be a byproduct of that.
What's funny?
I'm glad you guys. Good apologies, by the way.
Very good apologies.
It takes big people to apologize for anything.
What's shocking to me? What I will say that's shocking to me is all these months later, you're still respectfully missing what made it a bad trade, which was they should have gotten 75 first-round draft
See, that's where I
picks.
Disagreed.
But how are we missing that? How are you missing that?
Meaning, because we're still talking about the basketball aspect of the trade, which was
no. I mean, obviously, that was the most criminal part of this is that he should have gotten a way bigger
but
haul.
Bobby was
But my take was
on
about the
basketball.
trade that it was, right?
Yeah, Bobby.
I thought the return was like I didn't care about draft picks. I thought Davis was a great piece, and I was wrong about that.
So that's again, we're still there. Noah's
that's a
got
whole
it.
Separate apology.
We'll get there later, but like that was the point is if you decided for whatever reason you think Luka was a jerk, you thought you didn't trust that he'd ever get fit, say it's a Zion situation or whatever. It's like extreme talent, but I don't want to be in this business because once I sign this extension, what's he going to do? Gain 30 more pounds, never show up in shape. And I'm just going to I don't want to deal with it. If they decided they wanted out of the Luka business, that's fine, but call another team. Like,
right. Every team would have
put
an offer in
much more. So that was the criminal part of it. But I personally feel for Mavericks fans, I've seen, in our time in Boston, we've seen some trades where you lose people and you're like, wait, what? Like we've seen, on the Bruins side, they traded Joe Thornton, a number 1 pick, Tyler Seguin, a number 2 overall pick with crappy returns. You've seen Mookie Betts go, and you feel like as a fan, you've been robbed.
We've seen Tom Brady go.
Sure, but I mean, Brady at least was at the end, and you got so much out of it. Mookie Betts was in his prime. Those other guys.
What did you get out of Brady? Leaving
6 Super Bowls.
Oh, I thought you mean him leaving.
He's 40. At that point, you could have said you got as much out of it as you could. He had a couple of years left, but even still, this to me makes me physically sick, and I don't care at all about the Mavericks' success.
It's crazy.
This feels like they had something stolen from them, and I don't know how you could ever recover here. Like,
from a business standpoint, I mean, how much money have they lost just marketing-wise, sales-wise, and just on a global standpoint? It never made any sense.
Right. And that's where, I don't know what you said specifically, Noah, but I said at that time, you can't trade Luka. But if you're going to X, Y, and Z, and then I said everything from there. Like, was that your sentiment
Then
too?
I said all the wrong stuff.
Were you actually okay with them? Yeah.
No, I think one of the things that where I've changed my view over the past year is that just franchise players in general, as flawed as they are, you don't really trade them because of the connection with the city, all of that. Relative
people were
to
crying.
other people, I'm probably in the bottom 5% of a Luka Doncic fan as far as just the way that he has played. And even still, the last year has demonstrated to me just how valuable that kind of player is, right? Even if it's not your cup of tea. So I thought Anthony Davis was instrumental to the Lakers championship. I thought this is a guy that if he can stay healthy, all that. But honestly, maybe the most criminal part of all this is that Anthony Davis was not going to stay healthy. He is an aging player who's had a ton of injuries, and Kyrie Irving is an older player as well. That's a part of it as well that I think maybe my 12:40 a.m. reaction did not quite take into account.
And can I just say this? Because ownership, they're doing a victory lap here because they fire him, I'm sure, writing the letter and all of that. They didn't want to pay him.
Ownership is fully to blame because
they could have said no.
you don't make a trade like this without ownership blessing. So
ownership, 100%.
Ownership owns this more than Nico. Nico had a bad idea. It's the owner's job to tackle him and say, nope, we're not doing that. So, and when you let it happen, there's a scene, the movie Casino, when they catch one of the guys in the pit, or they see some scam where some of the things are hitting there, and De Niro fires a guy. He's like, either you were in on it or you were too stupid to know that you were getting took. Either way, I don't want you here anymore. This is exactly the ownership situation. Like, you were part of it or complicit or ordered the code red, or you're too stupid to realize it was the dumbest thing anyone could ever do and you allowed it to happen. So ownership, owners can't fire themselves, so the axe falls on Nico, but the owner is 1,000,000% to blame for allowing this to happen. Anyway,
it's crazy.
That's it. We wanted to throw those out there.
We forgive you guys, but Nico Harrison and Mavs owners, they could truly never be forgiven. If you're a Mavs fan, they can never be forgiven.
I mean, you're never going to live it down ever.
The way that they approached the post-trade thing, to me, might have even been worse than the trade. Like, the way that they talked about it, I think that Nico Harrison's press conferences was one of the worst press conferences I've ever seen in any sports, politics, whatever. And so I think there's that, and then there's also, like, you pretty much did a masterclass on how to, like, disrespect a fan base and lose a fan base, which is the way that they handled it. They had private conversations with some reporters, but not all beat reporters. Can you imagine if there was Brad Stevens is sitting half of our beat down in a room and not the other half, and saying stuff. It's just, the whole thing was just a disaster. So that's the stuff that
we've seen things like that in Boston media. But anyway,
really,
I'd like to think you guys would be part of the Brad Stevens.
There was one time, Kurt Schilling one year.
Maybe.
Kurt Schilling one year. This was actually a lot of fun. Back when media was competitive and we were trying to chase stories and get the story instead of everybody sharing and transcribing things for each other and being kumbaya. It was competitive. I want this shot. I want this interview. I got to get this guy. Crazy competitive. And Kurt Schilling had come off
competitive.
I am saying is everybody, we get along. Everybody's not it was more,
not how it
more
used
cutthroat.
to be.
And even before then, even more cutthroat, Jack Edwards would tell a story about how he got in a car crash chasing Bob Lobel trying to get to a story because Lobel had a scoop on him and he was tailing Lobel in a car. But anyway, Schilling showed up to spring training and it was the Sox wanted him to have surgery. He didn't want to have surgery, blah, 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 and this and that after the bloody Sox situation. And he hand-selected 4 media he would talk to and was where he was hiding, where in the building he would go talk to these people around the outside. And we were where's it going to be? And we were all trying to figure it out.
You were invited? Really you weren't selected?
No, we were not invited. I remember Lynchy was there and he was what the hell, he picked his friends. He shut out one of the 2 papers. I can't remember which one it was. And then had 2 other friendlies.
Probably the Globe.
Board. Yeah. Bye Globe. As Carl Everett would say. Anyway, that's it. We've gone on long enough. Celtics lose to this one. Nico Harrison is fired, which nobody particularly cares about.
So
and Gronk is signing a one-day. Gronk is signing a one-day to retire a Patriot tomorrow.
We'll be there tomorrow to cover that CLNS.
We will be there tomorrow. Again, subscribe to the Garden Report on the CLNS Media Network. Sign up, subscribe to all of our YouTube channels. Turn on the notifications so you'll be notified when we have a new video, which is often. Make sure you keep it here. You'll have a Noa Dalzell podcast coming tomorrow. You got Boston finding positives out of this game, and there were quite a few. Leading with Jordan Walsh, there's no question about that.
After this show, I need the podcast even more than usual.
Some shows,
I'm I need to cleanse my soul and my podcast, and this is one of those.
Yeah, we're sorry.
We're sorry
again for us for being who we
are.
The
longer you make us wait, the surlier we get. Okay, when you get here at the 57-minute mark,
it's the players.
We're frothing at the mouth. Couple quick shout outs once again to our sponsors. PrizePicks, #1 daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Download that app today. Use code CLNS. Get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. And if you want to get in on some steaks now or for the holidays, go to omahasteaks.com. Use the code Patriots at checkout. Bye, Noah.
Yeah.
Use the code Patriots at checkout. Terms do apply. $35 off at checkout. When you do that, we're going to bring Noah back here for the goodbye.
Code Patriots.
Goodbye. Code Patriots. That's it for us on the Garden Report. Again, thank you guys for hanging out here as the Celtics lose. They dropped to 5-7. They are currently outside of the play-in window, but again, it is super early, and they've got some cupcakes coming up on the schedule.
It's a game tomorrow.
No, there's
a game
not.
tomorrow.
Yeah, there is. Celtics Grizzlies.
Oh, I refuse to be part
It's
of that.
literally a game tomorrow. Is anyone
Really?
going to watch this show? There's another one in 12 hours.
Where?
TD Garden.
Oh, God.
The players are probably already home.
Honestly, they
doing
are.
the show.
You're actually right. They're probably already in Boston.
There's nothing
God.
like it than when I catch wind of everybody being home and I'm still at the arena in the away city. It's happened like 4 times now.
Guys, we have to stay on for 40 more seconds because we're about to hit the 2-hour mark. Ahmed just texted, why is this show longer than Star Wars? I don't know. we just went. We got carried away here. So 30 more seconds here. See if there's any
A lot of
comments.
Simon's anger just kept us going through this one.
Hey,
tonight.
Blorp, you've been pretty quiet, but we appreciate it. The official Blorp chiming in. Thank you.
Official,
too.
it says now. I guess there's been some posers out
You
there.
guys have any ideas for positive takeaways I should talk about?
Yeah, Jordan Walsh. Your
Well,
guy.
other than that.
You probably do 2 hours on him alone.
For Garza, first half Garza.
Okay.
Yeah, Garza didn't get. I think that's the first time we mentioned Garza.
White was really good too, I thought, tonight.
And Derek White found a little bit of his rhythm there with some of his shots. I'm going to say Anfernee Simons. He was clearly a positive. How about this, Noah? If you want a different take on Simons passing tonight, I thought was outstanding.
I turned to them and I said that today. I thought that his passing the last couple of games, the passing's really
That was a good point.
Simon's passing was outstanding tonight, which is a cool
He has
element
this
to his
nice,
game
like,
because
this little bounce pass into the paint that I like.
Yeah. If you don't want to be if you're going to be a one-dimensional player in your offense over defense, it's better if offensively you can do more than just score. So it was nice to see him distributing a little. So we'll do that one too. Anyway,
Thanks
we've
for the
passed 2
brainstorming
hours.
session. Good night, everybody.
Yeah. See ya.